is a moment that feels very familiar to dog owners, yet is rarely examined deeply enough. You are sitting still. You don't call. You don't command. You don't invite. And then your dog walks over, turns slowly once, and places its entire body weight onto you. Not rushed. Not random. If you have lived with a Shih Tzu long enough, you will notice this happens precisely at moments when you are the calmest. Many people think simply, it likes warmth. It likes soft places. It's just used to me. But from a biological and behavioral perspective, I can say this very plainly. A Shih Tzu never chooses to sit on you just because it's convenient. It is a highly selective decision. Shih Tzus are not a breed driven by strong reflexes. They don't rush in, don't demand, don't dominate. They observe. And when they decide to press their body against yours, it usually happens after their nervous system has read a very specific signal from you. You are okay. You are safe. You are predictable. In behavioral biology, dogs do not perceive the world through logic the way humans do. They perceive it through breathing rhythm, muscle tension, posture, and movement speed. When you sit still, breathe slowly, without stimulation or sudden shifts, your body sends a very clear message. There is no threat here. For a Shih Tzu, that signal is stronger than any verbal call. And at that moment, they choose you. Not the chair, not the bed, not the sunny spot. They choose a source of nervous system stability. For dogs, especially sensitive breeds like Shih Tzu, safety does not live in space, it lives in predictable presence. You become an anchor. There is a detail many people overlook. The way a dog sits tells you everything. If a Shih Tzu faces outward while sitting on you, body slightly tense, head raised, that is a guarding state. It is watching. It is saying, you rest. I'll keep an eye out. But if it turns inward, resting its back or head against your chest, fully relaxed, that is something entirely different. In that moment, it is seeking synchronization. It wants your heartbeat, your breathing, your steadiness. In science, this phenomenon is called mutual emotional regulation. When a dog presses against a trusted human body, the heart rates of both tend to slow. Bonding hormones increase, stress hormones decrease. This is not something cute. It is a two-way biological response. Your body calms theirs, and their trust, in return, calms you. What's important to understand is this. Shih Tzus do not do this with everyone. They choose. Very carefully. There are people who carry, cuddle, and pet all day long, yet their dog never chooses to sit on them voluntarily. Not because there is no love, but because the human body is too inconsistent, too fast, too tense, too full of conflicting signals. So when your Shih Tzu chooses to sit on you in a very quiet moment, what it is saying is not, let me sit here. It is saying, I feel safe here. And the best response is not to hug tightly, not to stroke frantically, not to exclaim with emotion. The best response is to do nothing. Keep your breathing the same. Keep your posture the same. Allow your body to remain what it was when it was chosen. Many dog owners try to create connection through action. But with Shih Tzus, the deepest connection comes through stillness. Still enough for a dog to place its entire weight on you. Still enough for its nervous system to drop into true rest. And there is one last thing I want you to remember. In your home, your dog has many choices. A bed, a couch, a cool floor, a patch of sunlight. But in that moment, it chose you. Not because of something you did, but because you are the one its body trusts. If after this video, the next time your Shih Tzu sits on you, you don't rush to move, don't rush to react, and simply stay for a few more seconds, then it is no longer just a behavior. It becomes a very deep conversation between two nervous systems that have learned how to recognize each other. There is a fascinating scientific detail that few Shih Tzu owners notice. Dogs do not seek contact when they are most excited, but when their nervous system is settling down. If you observe long enough, you'll see that Shih Tzus rarely sit on you right when you come home from work, are speaking loudly, or moving constantly. They wait. They wait until your rhythm slows, and it is precisely in that moment that this behavior appears. From a neurophysiological perspective, this is when the dog's parasympathetic nervous system begins to dominate. Heart rate slows. Breathing becomes even. Muscles soften. Only in this state does a dog dare to place its full body weight onto another living being. That level of trust is profound, because for animals, placing body weight on something means making themselves vulnerable. If danger appears, they cannot react quickly. That's why this behavior is never random. I once encountered a very telling case. A Shih Tzu would only sit on the grandmother in the household, never on the younger owner, even though the younger person provided excellent care. When observed closely, the reason was clear. The grandmother moved slowly, spoke softly, and lived with a steady rhythm. The younger owner was loving, but their energy fluctuated constantly. They lifted the dog suddenly, changed positions often. No one was right or wrong. It was simply that the dog's body chose the place where it could predict what would happen next. Another example from the clinic has stayed with me for years. A very anxious Shih Tzu, trembling often, breathing rapidly, would visibly calm down within minutes whenever placed on the owner's chest. When we measured heart rate, we saw the dog's heartbeat gradually slow and align with the human's breathing rhythm. This was biological synchronization, not vague emotion. One body was borrowing stability from another to self-regulate. This also explains why some Shih Tzus prefer to sit pressed close but dislike excessive petting. Fast strokes, firm pressure, constant changes in touch stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, making the dog more alert rather than calmer. In contrast, still contact, simply sitting, gentle pressure, no interference helps the nervous system cool down. Many people think they are spoiling their dog, but in reality, they are adding extra stimulation for the dog's body to process. A crucial insight for owners is this. When a Shih Tzu sits on you, it doesn't need you to do anything more to prove love. It has already chosen. What it needs at that moment is not emotional response, but biological consistency. If you stand up immediately, shift positions repeatedly, or laugh and talk loudly, the dog's body records, "This place isn't as stable as I thought." And next time, it may not choose you. From this same perspective, you can understand why anxious Shih Tzus often seek constant physical closeness, even clinging behavior. This isn't simply attachment. It's that their nervous system cannot self-regulate, so it borrows another nervous system to stabilize. If the owner is overly tense, exhausted, or emotionally chaotic, the loop intensifies. The dog clings more. The human feels overwhelmed. The dog becomes even more uneasy. That's why raising a Shih Tzu isn't just about caring for the dog's body, it's about caring for your own state when you're with them. Dogs don't listen to words. They listen to breathing rhythm, muscle tone, and reaction speed. You don't need to do more. You just need to be stable. If you want to test this, try something very simple. The next time your Shih Tzu sits on you, don't pet. Don't speak. Just slow your breathing slightly. Keep your body still. And observe. You'll see their back soften. Their head grow heavy. Their breathing slow. That is the body saying, "I've found a place to rest." And it is in moments this quiet that real connection is built. Not loud, not performative, just two biological systems from different species, subtle enough to regulate each other. There is a point that very few videos talk about, but if you live with a Shih Tzu long enough, you'll notice it repeating with striking consistency. Dogs don't just choose who, they also choose when. And that timing often coincides with moments when you are most vulnerable, tired, sad, empty, or just after you've let your guard down. I've observed many cases where this behavior appeared more frequently after major changes in a household. Someone lost a job, someone had just recovered from illness, a long period of stress. The owner never called the dog over, and yet the Shih Tzu came on its own, lay close, and stayed still. What's interesting is that they don't do this when you're crying intensely or pacing restlessly, but when you're so tired, you've stopped trying to control your emotions. At that point, your energy becomes raw, unpolished, but stable. And the dog's body recognizes that faster than your conscious mind ever could. From a neurological perspective, this is when microsignals like irregular breathing, reduced muscle tone, slumped shoulders, become more visible. To humans, these are signs of exhaustion. To dogs, they signal the performance is over. No more tension to impress. No more agitation to conceal. And that honesty is what feels safe to them. Here's a counterintuitive but accurate insight. Shih Tzus often trust the people who don't try to entertain them. People who don't constantly call their name, pull them closer, or demand a response. In a dog's world, fewer demands mean less risk. Only when you don't need anything from them do they dare to need you. There is a very small behavior that says everything. After sitting on you for a while, many Shih Tzus will release a long, deep exhale before fully relaxing. That is not a habit. It is a physiological sign of letting go. The body has just decided, I can rest here. And that decision is not easy. It comes after long, silent observation. I also want to mention something sensitive but very real. Shih Tzus who have experienced anxiety, abandonment, or unstable environments often show one of two extremes. Either they never sit on anyone, or they sit on only one specific person. Nothing in between. This shows that this behavior is not a universal instinct, but a selective memory. The body remembers very clearly where safety once existed. And because of that, when a Shih Tzu chooses you, it may not only reflect the present, it may reflect its past. Places that startled them, hands that lifted without support, moments of being put down too suddenly, all of these are silently compared to the current moment. And if you are chosen, it's because you passed every one of those memories. One very important thing I want viewers to understand, don't turn this moment into content. Don't grab your phone to record it. Don't laugh loudly. Don't show it off. For dogs, sudden attention breaks the state, and repeated breaks will make this behavior disappear. Not because the dog loves you less, but because its body has learned that stillness will not be preserved. If you're still watching at this point, chances are you've experienced this moment before, but never thought about it this deeply. And that's exactly why I want you to stay a little longer. Because the most important part isn't why your dog sits on you, it's this. Are you a place safe enough for them to return to next time? And the answer to that doesn't live in the love you believe you have, but in the state your body carries with it every day. There is another layer of meaning that very few people notice. And if you understand this layer, the way you see Shih Tzus will change completely. Dogs don't just look for a safe place to rest, they also evaluate how trustworthy the future will be. That may sound abstract, so let me explain it in very everyday terms. When a Shih Tzu sits on you, its body is making a bet. A bet that in the next few minutes there will be no sudden movements. No being lifted unexpectedly. No being put down abruptly. No shouting, loud laughter, or hands reaching in from behind. For dogs, especially sensitive breeds, the near future matters just as much as the present. And many owners unknowingly lose this trust simply because they are too familiar. I've seen many Shih Tzus who sat on their owners frequently when they were young, but stopped doing so as they grew older. The owners felt sad, thinking, he's not affectionate anymore. But when you look closely, the story is very familiar. Whenever the dog was resting quietly, the owner would suddenly stand up, pull the dog along, or scoop it up because it looked too cute. No bad intentions, just that the dog's body learned that quiet moments never last. And so it stopped choosing them. An important insight here is this. Shih Tzus remember through sensation, not through verbal memory. They don't remember, last time I was picked up. They remember the jolt in the chest, the loss of balance in midair, the sudden spike in heart rate. Next time, if the body predicts that possibility, it avoids it. No thinking required. There's a very subtle sign you can use to check how safe your presence truly feels. When your Shih Tzu leaves you, how does it leave? If it stands up slowly, stretches, takes a few steps, then looks back, that is a healthy departure. But if it suddenly jumps up, hops off, and walks away immediately, it's very possible that its body stayed tense the entire time. It didn't rest. It endured. Another rarely discussed point. Not every Shih Tzu wants to be touched once it has pressed close. Some dogs need exactly one thing: weight and presence. Nothing more. When you add petting, talking, or reactions, you are changing the conditions that their body initially agreed to. And for a dog, changing conditions equals risk. This is especially true for dogs with a history of skin issues, joint pain, or chronic discomfort. In those cases, being close without being touched can be the most comfortable state. If you observe carefully, you'll notice some Shih Tzus lean in deeply, but the moment your hand rests on them, they shift slightly away. Not because they dislike you, but because their body is negotiating its limits. A very common mistake is trying to train this behavior, calling the dog over to sit on you, rewarding it when it does. This almost always backfires, because this behavior does not come from learning. It comes from an internal state. The moment you turn it into a task, you remove the core element, biological choice. And this is what I want viewers to remember clearly. You cannot force a nervous system to trust. You can only become what that nervous system wants to be near. If you are patient enough not to claim the moment, aware enough not to break it, consistent enough to repeat that safety across many very ordinary days, then something slow but unmistakable will happen. The Shih Tzu will return, not out of habit, but because its body has chosen you as a long-term place to rest. And when a small dog chooses you as the place to set down its full weight without defense, without vigilance, that is no longer a behavior. It is a very quiet commitment. So if this entire story had to be closed with just one truth, it would be this. When a Shih Tzu sits on you, it is not looking for attention, and it is not looking to be indulged. It is looking for a state calm enough for its body to dare to let go. That behavior does not appear because you did one thing right in that moment. It appears because you have been consistent across many moments before it. Consistent in how you move, in how you touch, in how you set them down, in how you stay still. A dog's body does not evaluate with logic. It evaluates through repeated experience. Raising a Shih Tzu, at some point, is no longer about training the dog, but about adjusting yourself, slowing your rhythm, softening your reactions, reducing the need to perform. And in that process, you become what a Shih Tzu needs most, a place with no demands, no surprises, no force. You don't need to hold that moment for a long time. You just need not to break it. Don't stand up abruptly. Don't pull them away. Don't turn it into entertainment. Simply allow it to exist exactly as it is. For a dog, being allowed to stay still is a very great gift. And if after this video, the next time your Shih Tzu walks over, places its small weight on you, and you choose to stay for a few more breaths, then it is no longer just attachment. It is trust, built over many very ordinary days. Not loud, not performative, but deep and lasting.